His name is Sayyid Sarwat.
شلونك يا سيد؟ شلونك؟ شلون راحتك؟ زين؟ اشترك شلونك؟ زين.
Hello, Mr. Gazi.
Hello.
How are you?
The youngest of his many sons, in modern suits and speaking a little English, are every bit as welcoming as the Sayyid.
مسألة قوية. خطار زاد.
Never mind.
وهسه كهرباء.
Good.
التلفزيون.
خير من الله.
التلفزيون وين؟
موجودنا.
بالمضيف؟ بالبيت. بالمضيف؟ ماكو شيء.
No, الحمد لله. الحمد لله.
شلونك؟ شلونك والله؟ كنت ببغداد؟
Hey, yes.
لا أمس بغداد.
Before 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
You speak English very well now.
No,
أجرم عشيرة وتعاركوا وديت جعفر جاب عطنا شهرين هذا وليهل وبعد نشتغل بيه وبعد مشتدين شوية بعدهم على الدجال ما مزينين بعدهم مختاضين لكن بنانا من بعد الشهر ما أخذ عليه معطوه هاي رمها الطبب بصبور هو وأخوته وصاحل وأخوته والله بالكبار
وهذا يعني مثلا أجرم وأخوانه
أجرم وقوفين 8 بالسجن
بالبصرة
لا
بالمجر But whether it's feuding or hunting, guns are part of the Marsh Arabs' way of life, for better or for worse. I asked Warid, the wife of my old friend Sahain, the imprisoned headman of Liqbab, what news she had of him.
وين؟ بالمجر من مؤمن وصحته زين صحته زينة؟ زين خوش كل زين هو عند المركز بالمركز مع المؤمنة وهسه يجي اليوم وبعد شو؟ عودنا على هالبت بعد.
But tomorrow never came, at least for us. When I left the marshes this time, Sahain and my other friends were still in jail. It was a shattering disappointment. Sahain is a tower of good sense, physically and mentally tough, generous, humorous, and all the things Arabs, and other people for that matter, respect and wish to emulate. Years ago, I, a foreigner out of the blue, had arrived here, and Sahain had made me feel that his family was my family. Liqbab seemed a different place without him. A large part of my hankering to return had been to see Sahain again. I have since heard that the story had a fairly happy ending. The police courts have sorted things out, Sahain and most of the others are back at home, and peace has returned to El-Kabab. Said Sarawat's truce has held. People get up early in Liqbab. As the sun eats up the dawn mist, life slowly stirs. As soon as the sun has taken the chill off the water, the buffaloes are driven away to spend the day grazing in the rushes. At Sahain's, his daughters start to make breakfast. From a young age, girls begin to prepare for the time when they will have households of their own to manage. The bread they make is of rice flour from rice fields the government has given the villagers on the edge of the marsh, half a day's paddling away. The bread is baked on hot stones, and smouldering cakes of dried buffalo dung are heaped on top to bake the upper side. All over Lakbab, the women are preparing a breakfast familiar throughout the marshes. Rice bread, sweet tea and hot milk. While the women cook and mind the children, Jathir and the other men are setting out from the village to go deep into the marsh, taking little with them but a cloak, a gun and a fishing spear. This is one of the times I find intensely enjoyable, when the expanse of water and sky becomes ours, when it might be 1979 or 3000 BC. The men are here to fish, to cut the giant reeds they need to build houses or to make punt poles, or to hunt. They may sleep out in the wild marsh for 2 or 3 nights, listening after dark in rough shelters hacked out of the reed forests to the furtive sounds of otters and turtles and the huge wild pig that infest the region. In Lakbab, youngsters acquire their first canoes almost as soon as they can walk, and under their mother's watchful eyes they begin to acquire the skills which will make them the fishermen and hunters of the next generation. To consider the antiquity of marsh villages can take your breath away. The tasks the women perform have been done like this since the dawn of the world. First the Sumerians, the earliest of all people here, then the Babylonians, then the Syrians, Persians, Turks, and much later the British, all looked upon scenes just like these. Water buffaloes first lumbered into the marshes from India in about 3000 BC. We know that from carvings on Sumerian seals dug up in the region. And they've been lumbering about ever since. Life here now without the water buffaloes would be well nigh impossible. They provide milk, yogurt, and the buffalo dung, which dried makes an invaluable free fuel for the slow-burning marsh fires. The buffaloes are much prized and much pampered. After a pleasant day lolling and munching in the reeds, they rumble easily home again, and rushes cut by the girls are spread under their noses like roast peacock before princes. They have no enemies, they have a wonderful life, and yet they never stop grumbling. A marsh family's life almost revolves round the need to keep their buffaloes fat and happy. Canoes loaded with fodder shuttle tirelessly between the marsh and the villages from morning to dusk. Every marsh family has one boat at least. You need a boat even to cross to a neighbour's house for a cup of tea. Yet there's no wood in the marshes. The boats are nearly all built at a little town called Waahhoar on the southern fringe of the marshes near the Euphrates. The wood is imported from Indonesia and Malaysia. Marsh canoes are not dugouts, but carvel built by skilled boatwrights. The last stage comes when the hull is covered with a thick, smooth skin of bitumen. Boats vary in size and price. They can cost anything from £20. One like the war canoe Said Salawat gave me would cost £200 today. Marsh canoes sit snug and low in the water and are ideal for fishing and hunting, once you've learned how to keep your balance. Saleh, Chathir and their friends from Al-Akbab can scout the reed beds looking for duck as silently as otters on the warpath. But today they're out of luck. It's no laughing matter. They're not out here for fun. They need the duck and the fish to eat. There's no dry land anywhere. So if you want to leave the canoe for a rest or to prepare a meal, you have to clear a place in the reed beds. In next to no time, marsh Arabs trample down the giant reeds to make a kind of platform. And by the time the rest of us reach them, they have finished a rough and ready nest. Now they start to throw up a crude but effective shelter, again using reeds, because the sun at noon can be unbearably strong. Marsh Arabs can do anything with reeds, conjuring shelters and fires out of nothing. I've seen this countless times, but I never cease to be astonished by it.
لا فطمستوهم مع الوالده يبغى منزل بخت اكون ازيد انا منزل صار حالكم منزل صالح هذا النشر.
Even a marsh Arab's fishing spear is made out of a single giant reed. For lunch there are no duck, but Chithir's son has bagged a heron. Not something I recommend unless you're very hungry indeed. Dough for the rice bread and tea and sugar is about all they brought with them from Likbab. The fish they've just caught they split in two and peg round the reed fire on reed skewers and grill them. While lunch is cooking, people take a minute or two off for their midday prayers. All marsh Arabs are Muslims, some, like this one, more punctilious about praying than others. And so, less than an hour after starting the platform, our meal was ready to eat. What? With reeds and a few thousand years of experience, you can make not only temporary shelters, but houses, and far grander buildings too, like Said Solowat's guest house, built about 30 years ago.
كان غالي يعني كم دينار؟
ماكو بس الليف معروفة خلفان ما خلفان تبايع. يعني تطول فوق الشهرين 3 أشهر.
3 أشهر؟
اي.
وكم واحد كم نفر كان؟
جموع 200 250 8 اجتماع. مصرف مال الليف 50 دينار هذا بعد. دبايع 27 خروف ثور.
ثور؟
اي ثور دبايع مستوقين. اجتماع كبير 200 250 زلمه يجتمعون عليه. يعني كلش كبير.
And today, they still build grand and elaborate guest houses in exactly the same way as the first inhabitants of the region, the Sumerians, built them 5,000 years ago. Split reeds are twisted to make the ropes binding the pillars that arch together form the walls on the ceiling. It's these pillars that put strength into the building, that give it height and majesty, and almost cathedral-like grandeur. These wonderful guest houses have a real importance in the marshes, where distances are great, but there are no hotels, and it may take you 5 days to complete a journey. In the guest houses, whoever you are, you find food and lodging in accordance with one of the most assiduously honored Arab traditions, hospitality. great thing about Said Sorowat's canoe was that I could go to all sorts of other places far into the marshes.
اللي هنا وتنتهي قصتنا لهذا اليوم. وإذا عجبكم الفيديو لايك للفيديو، لا تنسون الاشتراك في قناة قصص واقعية على اليوتيوب وتفعيل الجرس على مود يوصلكم كل شيء جديد وأول بأول. تقبلوا تحياتي، أنا علي البهادلي، وإحنا وياكم انتظرونا بحلقة جديدة وقصة جديدة. في أمان الله وحفظه، دمتم سالمين. مرحبا بكم في قناة قصص واقعية. قناة قصص واقعية هي الحل الأمثل لكم ولكل فرد. كل فرد بداخله قصة معينة وما يقدر يوصلها للناس، تريد تقدر توصلها للناس، تفضل من خلال قناتنا. عندك موضوع معين ببالك وتريد تنشره، عندك فد مسألة معينة وتريد ردود من الناس ونصائح، كل هذا وتقدر تسويه من خلال قناة قصص واقعية. تفضل عزيزي اتصل، الرقم موجود بالوصف، أو تقدر تتواصل ويانا من خلال برامج التواصل الاجتماعي: واتساب، فايبر، ايمو، تيليجرام. إذا كانت هذه لك أول زيارة لقناة قصص واقعية، ننصحك تشترك بالقناة وتفعل الجرس على متحصل كل شيء جديد من قناة قصص واقعية. قناة قصص واقعية، الحل الأمثل لك ولكل فرد.